Welcome back to the Capes and Tights podcast right here on capesandtights.com. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. Today we have Paul Eaton of Galactic Comics and Collectibles on the program to talk the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special over there at Disney Plus, part of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that dropped right after Thanksgiving in 2022. But before we start talking, visit us on capesandtights.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're also over there at Hive if you want to join us there as well. Make sure you subscribe and rate on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your major podcasting platforms out there. But this is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special discussion and conversation with Paul Eaton of Galactic Comics and Collectibles in Bangor, Maine. Enjoy, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, Paul Eaton.
Look at that.
This is just amazing. This is not the last one for the end of the year that you'll
we got a
end of the year that it will air in 2023, but
right. We have some more recordings to do, and I have more homework to get done.
Yeah, and did I tell you I wanted to add in the most letdown comic book, but I was like, I don't know if I want to.
And then you do an interview with one of the creators of it later.
Yes, but not the worst, but like I want to say like a comic book that you were super excited about, yet it didn't live up to the excitement that it was out there. Not that it was bad, because it's definitely a possibility for a comic book to be a really good comic book, but just not to the level that you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's like movies. You go to the movies with this expectation, and then you watch it again later, and you're like, okay, all right, I liked it more this time.
Yes. My earphone just did that thing again. Remember I told you? Well, it's got 10% left out of it.
Notifying you that it's on its way out.
It goes beep, beep, beep. Okay. We'll talk more comic book stuff at the end. And we're actually going away from what we're doing here today. We're actually going to do these less and less, where we do like reviews of things on here, because I feel like just generic conversation about comic books or other things is more fun. And then we'll just do some more written word type stuff on the website for these things. But we had this on the schedule. We thought we'd talk about it, so we'll chit chat. So if we go off on a tangent too, Paul, I don't care.
So it's the right time of year to have this conversation, I guess, right? But yeah,
we could just talk about holiday.
Wait, you and I go
general.
off on a tangent? That never happens. We always stick right to our plot line.
Well, is that why we changed our podcast episodes to in the morning so that we don't get a little tipsy at night? And
this is coffee, podcast, and there's no extras.
That's how it used to go. At the end, we'd calling people by the wrong name. And
just boy crushing on Scotty Young the entire time.
It's like, what issue was that? And you're like, we're both like, we know the issue, but we don't know it right
it's
now.
In there somewhere in the fog.
But we're here to talk a holiday special, not the infamous Star Wars holiday special, because that's next week with Jabron Graham. So if anybody wants to talk about that horrendous
Jabron, thank you for taking that one for me so that I don't have to do it.
What? I thought you were a big Star Wars guy.
I'm a big Star Wars guy. Everyone knows that.
No, that's next week. I didn't realize until I started to rewatch it again that it's an hour and 45 minutes. It's not even.
God. God.
What was this? 40 minutes? The holiday special for Guardians of the Galaxy?
45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, 42-minute runtime.
So I had watched it for the fun of watching it.
Yeah.
And then you messaged me and you're like, crap, I forgot. We have a podcast to do. And I was like, all right. So I got up this morning and watched it again from the perspective of like, I actually have to review and have intelligent thoughts about this.
Well, so somewhat intelligent.
I don't really have intelligent thoughts about anything, but yeah. So I'm glad I went back and watched it again this morning. And it was funny because my girls were up this morning. So they watched it with me. And they when I left the house, the two little ones were watching the I Am Groot specials. Like,
those are fun.
Those, so yeah,
they're cute. Yeah. It makes sense. It's a lot of the stuff I think that James Gunn and that crew wanted to do, but they can't put into movies, or it's just a wasted. Like there's like almost like they did jokes in those Groot ones.
Yeah,
that were supposed to be at one point in the movies that like got cut. So like, we'll just do these shorts and animated shorts on the side.
Cute.
Here.
They're really good.
Cute.
Yeah, they were fun.
It's not one of those ones where like I rewatch over and over again. Maybe your girls at their age, or when my son gets to that age, he'll watch them over again. But I don't think that I watched them once. I think I'm good.
The girls love Groot anyways. Like I think that's probably their favorite Guardians of the Galaxy character,
which we'll get into here on this episode of the podcast about the interesting design choice of Groot as he gets older on the thing. But this special is the second of the Marvel specials presentation thing. The first being Werewolf by Night. This is the second one. Paul, do you realize that like they announced this special, like, or announced it like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and
Really?
didn't put a trailer out until like maybe 3 or 4 weeks prior, and didn't actually even have a date until then, which was a really weird thing to us. We all knew that this was going to come out. It was going to come out in between Thanksgiving and Christmas because it's a holiday.
You're not going to release this in March.
Like, yeah. So we were like, when will this come out?
Only if you're one of my toy distributors.
And it made sense to me that it came out on Friday, November 25th, which is Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So it gave all the people who maybe had the day off or that weekend to watch it. So they probably had some good numbers on that weekend. And it kind of like kicked off the holiday season. Oh, yeah. In that sense. It's complete opposite of the Werewolf by Night special.
Like, yes, yeah, totally.
Which is cool. We got both ends of those spectrums. And
Werewolf by Night was very, very serious. And
yes,
I thoroughly enjoyed this one as well. I like both of them.
Well, this is what I would love to see more of, is these one-off, like somewhat connected, and maybe even like Werewolf by Night introduced Werewolf by Night into the MCU, and then at some point in the future we'll see him again, or kind of like we're rounding up to the end of this Guardians of the Galaxy team with Guardians 3, and so let's give you one more little fun thing that's not connected.
All of the characters that you love, kind of here they are,
but they're not like, it's not like there's no world. It's actually the first Marvel MCU project in history to not feature a villain.
That's true.
It was trying.
Wait, Kevin Bacon's not the villain of this?
They should have just thrown Krampus somewhere in there or something along those lines.
Something
like to stop them as they were going to do this thing. There was someone trying to stop them from doing this thing.
Right.
I think it should have been Krampus. Or I have on my background here, Spawn just as Santa Claus. No,
fine choice.
Yes, so they didn't include a villain, and that was pretty cool. So they were just trying to do something nice for someone they love, and return that holiday spirit to him, and that was cool. I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. There was no villain in this. There was a post-credit scene, which I don't know if you watched that or not, but there is one at the end of this. We'll get to at some point too. But yeah, it was cool. 42 minutes, very easy. For Disney, it's one of the better holiday specials they've ever put out. Again, talking about the Star Wars holiday special, wasn't them, but obviously
that wasn't them at least. Yeah.
I still don't understand. We'll talk about that next week that you brought, but like, why wouldn't you remaster that and put that back out? Or why haven't they done a new one?
Right, just do a new one. Right.
Like, you have Rey and you have Luke Skywalker back. You have these people in the new. Why wouldn't you just put a new one out?
Right.
These people,
especially with the amount of Star Wars like series that are dropping.
Yeah.
And all of that. Yeah.
Like let's say take the bull by the horns and say we're gonna redo this holiday special better than we did it before. Because I mean, anything would be better than that. So we'll get to that next week. But like, anything.
I'm so glad I do not have to sit through an hour 45 of that.
I'm gonna call you on Sunday and be like, "Oh, Jabron can't do it. I need you to fill in." No. So that was pretty cool. I like that. The sense that it was a Disney holiday special. That's honestly, Taylor and my wife and I said that we're gonna watch this every year. It's to be like one of those.
I could see that.
The rotation. And for her, she's been listening to that opening song nonstop. The Christmas song, the Christmas time one.
That was so good.
It was co-written by the 979s.
The old, what was it, old 97s or something?
Old 97s, and James Gunn helped write it, but yeah.
Yep. And I loved Quill like interjecting in it, like, yeah, no, that you got it. Then no, that's not right at all. That is not part of the lore.
What? I don't know if I have. I think I can look it up. I wonder if someone's put the lyrics online right now. I think my goal is, because of this, when this podcast goes on Spotify and on Apple, I can use other people's music on it, because it's weird how they don't have like a algorithm to start. So I thought about maybe the intro music being that song.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you watch us on YouTube, it has to be our song for the podcast, because YouTube will say nope and take it off. But I was hoping there's AZ lyrics. Someone did write the lyrics out. Yeah, there was what was the line? Santa is a furry freak with epic superpowers. He flies through every human home in under 14 hours.
14 hours.
He's like he's a master burglar. That was a great one too.
He's like, no.
Yeah. Oh, if you're on his naughty list, he'll shoot missiles at your toes, like mistletoe. He might roast your chestnuts with his powerful flamethrower.
Yeah, Quill's like, there's no flamethrower.
Why did you get this idea? Oh yeah, soon all of his elves will rise up and stab out Santa's eyes. So she loves it. The song itself is catchy. It's great. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's one of those. Now it's gonna play, I think, on Christmas like playlists.
After hearing this song, after watching this, you hear the song too. You get that like vision of them all going. And I love Groot in the background, like at a rock concert. Like the rest of them are all looking at each other. The people of nowhere looking at each other like, what the hell is happening right now? And Groot's like, I'm Groot.
And so, speaking of that, Groot, let's just get that out of the way.
Okay.
He looks like yoked.
He looks like a linebacker.
Oh my gosh, he's a teenager that just spends too much time in the gym getting ready for football season.
Right. Yeah, and it's weird because Groot is always in all artwork. He's always like a lanky, like creature. Like it. So it is weird that like he did not miss the day of lifting for the upper body. He is jacked. And
I don't know where that came from because it was like there's nothing to base it off of, and there's no. It's not like he got bigger in the previous iterations of him, and depending on what he's gonna look like in Guardians 3, we don't really know that yet. But like, depending, yes, we do because the trailer dropped. Do we see him in it? I don't remember. I'll have to watch the trailer.
I don't remember now.
But yeah, it was like this weird. I don't know. I just really hope.
No, I agree. That was the first thing I thought when I saw Groot 2 was like, what? That's not really how Groot looks like. What's with the beefy upper body going?
And Paul, there's like basis. Like you could just pull the animation stuff from a different movie.
Oh, tons of it.
This is not like the suit that someone had to make. This is CGI.
And the funny thing, like the one I don't know, I always have a problem with this anyways, is I'm such a big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy in book format that like this isn't the proper aging format of Groot. He doesn't do this. So that always drives me nuts anyways. But I can try to look past it and everything else, and it's fun and like it is. But that was weird. I thought Groot was great in it. I loved.
Me too.
Him in it, but it was weird.
And the funny thing is, this is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Peter Quill is barely in it.
A little bit here and there.
But the main two people that were this entire thing, which is kind of funny in one sense, is that there was Drax and Mantis.
Yeah. That
Drax is basically done being Drax in Guardians 3. Like he's just done with Marvel altogether. He just doesn't want to do it anymore. To see him do this and him be the primary, him and Mantis be the primary characters, I was like, interesting. Okay, I can go with this.
Drax was fun, and it was funny how many times during that I'm like, yes, that is like Drax from the book.
Yes.
Like, that would be Drax in the book.
Well, they had to pick the two characters out of the whole thing that would do something as stupid as try to kidnap Kevin Bacon and be okay with it. Like,
Drax is 100% going for that.
And Mantis doesn't know.
I love the scene when they get to Earth and Mantis is like, "Why are they looking at us? Did you put on the cloaking device?" And he's like, "It's on." And then he leans over and like,
she goes, "I just saw you do that."
I should have brought Groot.
and that's the funny, like I like that, and I think that's what we were missing, and we won't go into it. What the comedy was missing in Love and Thunder, like it has this, it makes sense comedy that
yes, the fun fitting of the characters and their relationships, and which is part of Guardians of the Galaxy, like that I love from the book series. From I always go back to the Brian Michael Bendis era stuff, because the previous stuff is a lot darker Guardians. Like this, that group is just like they're friends. It's fun. They're joking around. They're messing with each other. Like, and that's what you're getting in this. I feel like it's James Gunn nailed it for what the relationship amongst these characters is, and that's what makes you want to return to it over and over again.
Yeah, and you can see someone he knows how to make a project. It's funny, but it has heart. It has great actors. It has great the writing. Like James Gunn knows what he's doing writing wise. I think he's very talented. And I honestly, and this is, you'll hear this year first on the podcast, it's gonna make me want to watch more DC films when he starts having more of a finger on the pulse over at DC Films. Like it's
we might DC finally get you in.
But like I watched Black Adam, Paul. I don't know. Did you hear me say that I turned it off?
No.
Yeah, I turned off. About 65-70% through the movie, I turned it off.
Wow. I still haven't watched it yet.
It is a it reminds me of being in Wonder. Like it's in the same vein. Like the filming style looks a lot like Wonder Woman. Not 84, but Wonder Woman, the Amazonian. The original Wonder Woman. Not original, but the Gal Gadot one. Yeah, I was not massively happy with it. I'm not a DC fan. I don't know Black Adam lore, so I've heard that is a real big turn off.
Everything that I had read said if you are a Black Adam fan, if you're a DC comic fan, you love this movie, and if you are not, you're an outsider to this movie.
But that's a problem in my opinion, because
it really is, because that's what Marvel succeeds in. They get the casual fans and the people that aren't fans, the spouses that go, like my wife goes with me and loves them, and she said, because she just loves going to the movies. And when Black Adam came out, she's like, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Hon, I'd go for sure, but I don't know that you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
like maybe you will, but for everything I've read, I don't think that you're gonna really enjoy going to this."
No, and that's what we're gonna see hopefully with James Gunn and with DC. I know he's not gonna be. He might write and direct a film. We don't know. We haven't been told he's not going to, but yet he's going to produce all these ones like Kevin Feige. He's doing along with what's his face? I can't remember his name. His partner in crime over there at DC Studios DC Studios is creating these movies that are more appealing to a wider range of audiences, have heart, comedy.
Important. It is
follow some of the original content, but like you can veer a little bit to make what they have. And so
I think the DC properties follow the comics to a T, which I enjoy, but sometimes it's too much, especially for non-fans. And also there are scenes and sequences you take from a comic book, and if you go on 100% to screen, it does not look right.
No,
it just does not like transition properly.
No.
And I think Marvel does a better job generally of picking and choosing those scenes and changing them necessary to make it work, where DC doesn't do that as much. They're like, this is what it looks like, and this is what it is on the screen. And when you're watching it as a fan, you can go, I appreciate seeing this now, but I can also see the perspective of a non-fan going, what the hell am I looking at? What is this?
Yes. And here's the deal. What you're going to get, what you see with this and any other Guardians project that's been out there, James Gunn is a fan. Making a movie. This is a fan-made movie.
I would think you'd have to be for the amount that they are accurate to characters.
And so, like, he has fun making it, which shows in his films, shows in these things. And so, letting him write and direct this holiday special was astronomically amazing. And hopefully, it leads into what happens in Guardians 3. And there might be some things that we pull from here, maybe some fun.
There's stuff in this to make it relevant to the MCU that if you're going, I'm assuming going into Guardians 3, you're going to be confused if you did not watch this.
Which is what Kevin Feige said all along, that these things on Disney Plus are going to be necessary for you to continue watching the MCU. Yeah. Like if you want to continue watching the MCU.
I love that. I love to have, and it's such a long period between movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love to have something to tide me over that is connected and ties in.
And it doesn't have to be the next movie, right? I mean, it could be 3 years from now, but just something that that connects all of them and lives in the same universe. But we had a guest appearance from Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
In this.
He was great.
Which is amazing. But here's the deal. After Ego,
we're going to get Kevin Bacon.
After Ego, right? Being Kurt Russell.
Yep.
And after hearing and seeing that Bill Murray is going to be in Ant-Man Quantumania, it wasn't as jarring and as surprising to me to see Kevin Bacon in this. Do you know what I mean? Like if there was any other,
he played himself. Like I think that was the best part, was that Kevin Bacon is Kevin Bacon.
But these classic actors being in these superhero style movies, to me, it was like when they heard Kurt Russell got cast as Ego, we're like, oh my God, that's awesome. Now it's just another thing. And so that's Kevin Bacon. I mean, the big thing was him playing Kevin Bacon, and the fact that he had to be Kevin Bacon, and the fact that what's his name? Star-Lord.
Yeah, Quill.
That Quill loves
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
And I love how they talked about how, like, when he left Earth, he was a child. Like, he doesn't remember things right because Kevin Bacon is like the superhero. And they get there, and first they're amazed that like every human on Earth doesn't know where Kevin Bacon is. Yeah,
or who he is.
Homies know where the location of Kevin Bacon.
And the funny again, being based in LA like that, how they had them do that stop and walk through LA,
Land
and
in
the fact that there
Hollywood and
is a
whatever.
stars map of where they live.
Yeah.
Like you
He's
could
all
find out where
accurate.
Kevin Bacon lives, so that
Yep.
makes sense. Like
Yep.
but
Dude,
then
Drax beating the hell out of the GoBot,
yeah,
like, and I'll
and
rip
then
your freaking head off. And she's like, a GoBot killed his cousin.
them taking pictures and making all the money
Yeah, and blowing it
by
all
the
on
Chinese
booze.
theater. And then
Maybe
when
Kevin Bacon's in here.
Yeah.
Go ahead and they just get hammered.
and then
Which is 100% accurate to the
yes.
Guardians and what they do. Like that, they're either trying to save the galaxy, swindle somebody, or they're off drinking at a bar. That is like you in the books. That's what they're doing.
And seeing in the partner shows like not a buddy cop, but like a Tweedledee and Tweedledum kind of relationship between Mantis and Drax, that they both are kind of out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's funny because none of them are socially acceptable as far as like any of the members of this team up. Like Nebula is not going to do well.
No,
either.
She would have killed someone.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. Like she would have tortured people to find out where Kevin Bacon was. Yep. You know, but you got these two.
I think Gamora would have done the same thing. Gamora would have been the same way.
Yep. Oh yeah. You get these two are both numb, like really. And Drax is Drax. He's literal and doesn't understand these things.
But and they're like aliens, but Rocket would have been like, there's a talking animal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a great scene in it there with, when they have Kevin Bacon and Rocket's like, chill out, no one's gonna hurt you. And he's like, oh my God, that's a talking raccoon. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like,
which we're gonna see some pretty emotional things in Guardians 3, I think, based on what we've seen so far.
We're getting into the Rocket's origin story, which comes from Scotty Young, so that's fun.
I'm excited for that, so that'll be fun. But no, and then when they try to break into his house, and Kevin Bacon's like, I'm not letting you in, and then he's like, Mantis, toss me over.
You think you can toss me over that? He just chucks her.
And then he jumps over.
Talking. And of course he jumps over, which I was debating, like, okay, in the books, would Drax jump over that, or would he just like break the gate? Like,
correct. Here's the other thing though is, and a friend pointed out this to me, and I didn't realize until afterwards. She couldn't jump over the fence, but later on she jumps pretty high. Yeah,
she jumps to like the second story. She's all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, to me, it's like I don't know. Couldn't go over the fence. But then you could jump. So like that was a little bit, but also
I'm sure she could have, especially because she is like one of Mantis's powers is the fact she's a martial artist, which this is the first time you see that in this. But yeah, I'm sure she could have easily like worked her way over that. But I don't know, maybe she was still drunk. Like
exactly right. She's sobered up enough to jump.
And then Drax just chucks her. Yeah, but that's always the great the speedball with Wolverine when they throw him. You just. Drax chucks her. Like, he's perfect. And then they start taking stuff as soon as they land in there.
Oh, I like this. You can't take that. What? Okay, I'll take this one. I'm
gonna take this one.
It's candy canes and stuff like that. Like the long
the candy cane. You got to keep your man. Why do you think this is a man? And she's holding up the candy cane. And that was a perfect discussion too of like Kevin Bacon's freaking out and calling the cops and running away. And Mantis is like, we have to catch him. And he's like, I left my funny man back in there. And he's like, well, what do you want? Do you want to save Christmas for Peter, or do you want the funny man? He's like, the funny man. Like, that is right out of books. Like, Drax would not have an idea on which was the accurate, like, choice here. And he's going to be selfish and choose what he wants.
Yes. Like I said, the comedy fit right in with Guardians. Like,
perfect.
Like, that's it could have been a longer post-credit scene to a movie. Like, it didn't have that. Like, it didn't seem a. So my question to Taylor was, are you guessing that they filmed this on the set of Guardians 3? Like they just took the beginning or here and there. They just.
I would assume a lot of parts of it were. I would think because now we found out because there we go. We go into how important this is. They bought nowhere.
Yeah.
So when you go into Guardians 3, you're going to assume that's going to be their like base of operation, which is normally where you find the Guardians when they're out drinking is at nowhere. So like. If you didn't watch this, you're going to be confused on that aspect, I'm sure.
I'm wondering if it was
sitting there.
A salary-wise cheaper, set-wise cheaper.
Yeah, you're already working on this and building it, so why not?
Just add like a section to the studio space of adding Christmas lights and shit, and then
doing the Christmas setup.
A couple of on locations shoots in Los Angeles, and then
Now you've
3 to
got people
42 minutes.
dressed
You
in
know?
full costume anyways, so let's film this while filming that. Then these are all background people that are going to be at nowhere wandering around anyways.
Yeah. And so it's like a longer promotional thing for Guardians Galaxy as a team, which then helps promote the May film in a sense too. So I mean, it's just cool in that sense of it. And it had that holiday vibe to it, but not over the top. And it's what did I say to Taylor? So one of the biggest things, we're watching a bunch of Christmas movies this year, like a bunch. Like we're at like 60 already.
Yeah, you're way ahead of us. Liz is envious of your Christmas watching.
And so we made a point to watch a lot of the newer stuff, like stuff we haven't seen yet. And so we watched Happiest Season. I didn't post that yet, but Happiest Season last night is a movie about stars. What's her name from Breaking Dawn, Twilight.
Okay. I'm never gonna get this, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm never gonna get that.
She's in it, and she has a girlfriend who hasn't told her dad that she's gay, and it is this whole thing. It was great. It was a very well made movie. It came out last year, maybe. But so we're watching these movies. It was a unique, original idea, and
something
that's
different.
The biggest thing that I have a problem with is we watched the Scrooge. Not yesterday. Maybe it's yesterday. The Scrooge, new Netflix Scrooge. It's called Scrooge: A Christmas Carol. It's an animated Netflix thing.
Okay.
It's
the Christmas story
variation of the Christmas story, but not like so variation enough that it makes it different enough. And it's animated in really weird animation. At least we had like the Grinch was the original Grinch, which is like classic animation.
Yeah.
Then you had the Jim Carrey Grinch, which was live action. And then with the CGI sense of
the
with some big actors in it.
Yeah. We're watching that one right now.
So they're the same story, but it's told in 3 different formats of filming
and different and still very well like changed up. Like
correct, but still to the point where it sticks to the source material.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor and I are talking about what else we watched. Spirited was pretty good. Again, it took the Christmas Carol, but went just a step in the right direction to making it a different movie. Elf was a great idea. Christmas Vacation. All these movies that are just like taking the traditional Christmas stories and then changing it a little bit. But when you just take the Nutcracker and make a new Nutcracker, or take Christmas,
you didn't change any of this,
no. And so this
how many
adds
times?
In that
that's one we watch. So we watch a Muppet Christmas Carol, which is fun. Mm-hmm. It has the Muppets in it.
That's my favorite Christmas Carol.
We watch Scrooge, the old Bill Murray one.
Yep.
We watch. I think there's a couple different Disney renditions of the Christmas Carol, and we watch.
It's a Mickey Mouse one.
There's the old Mickey Mouse one from like 83, whatever. We just watched that.
That one's good
with
too.
Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah.
And then there's another like newer version. I think the girls watch with, and like by the time you're done, you have watched the exact same story 4 times. Like
yes,
there's bits and pieces of them that are great, but it's fun to see a different style of movie. We just watched 4 Christmases with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, exactly, we watched that too.
And it's a completely different Christmas story, which is great to add this Guardians of the Galaxy into your Christmas shuffle because it's a completely different story. It is the idea of these people trying to make a perfect Christmas for their friend.
Yes.
So it's a great, like, heartfelt thing.
And that's the thing. It's like there's people we know
idiots who do this all wrong.
Well, there's people that we know.
Human trafficking.
I mean, sadly to say that last night we found out, and this is not to get any emotional, but the last night we found out Taylor's great grandmother just passed away last night. She had a heart attack last night, she was 94, and we were expecting it to happen at some point and all that stuff, but not to downplay it. But now it's possible that the family, obviously us, or Taylor being 3 generations away, she had a connection to her great grandmother, but not in the sense that like her dad did or her or grandmother did, because that's closer to the actual parent, the person. Is that it's possible it could ruin someone's Christmas season every year, reminding themselves
that's when they pass. Sure.
And so there's these emotional things like Peter Quill thinking about Christmas season every year, to the fact that he got it ruined for him. And
by Yondu.
But the funny thing is that he actually didn't get it ruined. Is even more funny.
That's where you get the story of that they didn't get at the end, which I liked how they did the animation sequence for his memories.
And here's the deal. Do you think that was a callback to the Star Wars holiday special? Because that Star Wars holiday special was 50% real and 50%.
That's what I thought. Whereas I thought that was based off the Star Wars, where it changes how you're watching the show. That was exactly what I thought. But on that side of it, I thought the animation was very good. I like the little story of he wants to bring it, and first Yondu's like, hell no, we're Ravagers, it's not what we do. And then at the end of it, you find out that's where Peter got his guns from, which is not accurate to the comics, but I still enjoyed. I'll take it.
Yeah, and it again, heartwarming, but great Christmas story, but funny and unique. And that's where I think this special will now be in the pantheon of people's watching Christmas movies every year. If you want to say, I'm going to watch 20 movies this year for Christmas during the season,
This one's
you
on
can
the
watch, you can put it on the list because it's different enough. You can watch your Elves, your Forest Christmases, a version of A Christmas Carol, a version of The Grinch. You can watch and throw this in there, and this is going to fit into that. I mean, a couple of horror ones. You can watch the new Violent Night movie that's coming out with, or is in theaters now or something, with David Harbour.
Yep.
David Harbour, yeah. And so they're going to add those into your collection, and the Guardians of the Galaxy found that spot that they can go into and not be to it. They could have easily just done a retelling of the Christmas story or Christmas Carol with the characters of, like what they do for the Muppets and for Mickey Mouse. It's just, they just become those characters.
Yeah.
They could have done that, which probably would have been funny.
It still would have been funny and enjoyable, but I like this story a lot better.
But I'm glad they did something completely different and off the wall in that sense.
And I like how it fits into your MCU storyline.
Yes. Whereas, like, kind of, does the Star Wars holiday special, is it actually canon? I know there's people from it, but like, is it like this? Does it connect episodes or episodes 4 and 5? I don't think so.
I don't think there's anything in it of relevance.
I gotta watch it again.
Good luck with that.
My favorite thing is the Star-Lord, Drax, Rocket, Mantis, and Groot engage in some spirited shenanigans, is the description on Rotten Tomatoes for this movie or this show.
It's accurate.
Is it a movie or a TV show? That's my question.
I mean, it's only 45 minutes long, so I guess it's a show, right?
Someone said that this goes into, if you were to put your favorite TV shows versus movies, this would fall into the TV shows thing because it's a TV special, not a TV, not a movie. Yeah,
so, right.
Oh, it was. So here's the go. Ready? Before it was announced, filming occurred in February and in late 2022 in Atlanta, Georgia, and in Los Angeles during the production of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So
there we go
on that. So that's
nice.
That's Wikipedia, everybody, for you. If you want to look that stuff up. Yeah, but I think it was, like I said, I was great. Oh, we saw not your favorite person in the world. We saw Cosmo the Space Dog. That's
Cosmo. Yeah, I hate Cosmo. Yeah, Cosmo seemed fine in this. Still don't like Cosmo.
Well, here's the deal. Like, I feel like it's just another Rocket Raccoon in a sense, a funny animal.
That's my problem. It's another funny animal. And when you get into the book sequences, it has a lot of the same powers as some of the other members of the team. So what difference does it make? Why are they here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought Cosmo in this was fine.
Yeah.
I don't like, and it led me to a bunch of questions of the fact that Mantis is now Peter's sister.
Yeah, that was interesting. So here's the deal. If you think about it in the idea of the MCU, it's not far-fetched because of the fact that
it's not.
But I don't like the idea behind it either. Because
why? I guess my question is, I haven't been able to come up with a reasonable answer to, is why did Ego keep her then? Because he killed all of the other offspring.
Yes.
That weren't like.
Well, because she
did have powers.
She had a need for him. She made him sleep.
Yeah, I guess you can get into that one. He had a purpose for her.
Yeah.
Like, that was the only thing I came up with was, and I forgot about that, him, like, her putting him to sleep.
But other than that, yeah,
I thought I just sort of figured he needed, like, an assistant or whatever, and, like, for whatever reason, she happened to be lucky to, the favorite of his playthings type deal, because that's kind of Ego's thing.
And why did we need to know that? Like, why? I don't think that made a difference in this holiday special as much that needed to be said. It didn't. I think it obviously made it added a little bit to it, but here's the question: does it?
And then at the end of it, it made Peter have the greatest Christmas of all time.
Correct.
Because
I think he still would have had the greatest.
Alone in the galaxy.
What they did for him still could have been the answer to the greatest Christmas ever, because they did something along the lines of try to kidnap an actual human being to give. It's a thought that counts.
The fact that the thought that counts, that they went all the way across the galaxy to abduct Kevin Bacon.
It was the most stream thing in that week it came out too. On according to
that makes sense for sure.
Media's TV time. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Why would he? It wasn't necessary. I think it was an additional thing. But here's the thought. is it more necessary in Guardians 3? Like, is that a
Well,
setup?
that's my assumption, is that in Guardians 3, this is going to be an important piece of it. Is that they're siblings, and it's going to go back to, if you haven't watched this, you might be lost at Guardians 3, because that's the other major part. So they buy Nowhere, and Mantis is the sister of Star-Lord.
But the thought I have with the whole having to watch thing is I don't think that people would it gives you the information necessary, but it doesn't leave a plot hole. I don't think. And that's the thing where I think it's because it's possible at the very beginning of the movie for Guardians 3, if it has anything to do with Mantis being his sibling, that they say some sort of like something that makes it so you now know that they're siblings without having to watch this. However, if you want to get the whole experience, watching it makes the most sense. Like, because it adds that same thing with Werewolf by Night. There's in all likelihood something's going to happen in the future that you're going to understand who Werewolf by Night is. It's going to give you way more information, way more to the story if you watch the Werewolf by Night special. But in the same sense, I don't think people are going to like
be lost.
Like, who the hell is this? And then just not want to watch the thing ever again. So I think these are going to add to and give you the full experience, but not take away to the point where people are like, what the and then don't want to watch the things.
Don't want to watch it in the first place. Right. That makes sense.
So I definitely think it's up there. It's one of the greater things that have been on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I would say
put out this year. I mean,
yeah, I think of all of the recent Marvel productions, I really enjoyed the Werewolf by Night one, but it was short and like it's a whole world you've never seen before, all wrapped up really quick. Where this is a familiar thing, so I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I think of all of the MCU productions in recent releases, this is probably one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Really fun. We'll be honest on here. We wait a lot of times here with Capes and Tights to wait till the movie comes out. Streaming wise, to do anything about the Black Panther or stuff, because we like to let people get the full experience if we don't go to the theaters, especially in this time of pandemics. People are still somewhat afraid to go to theaters or whatnot. It's only personal preference. But we wait a little bit till we put something on our opinions. Yeah,
because that's true. We haven't done Wakanda Forever yet.
No, and this special came out a few weeks ago, so we gave it some time to marinate and let people actually get to see it before you do it. Because sometimes a podcast episode comes out right directly after it. You haven't seen it yet. You forget about the episode. Our next episode comes out and it just goes away. Yep. And so we haven't seen that yet, but it could be. I mean, a lot of people say Black Panther is their favorite movie for Marvel or favorite Marvel project for 2022.
It makes sense. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I have not had a chance to get to the theater yet.
And so this is up there for me for sure. For 2022 as one of the best.
Yeah, I would say this is one I would highly recommend. It's fun, it's enjoyable. The humor of it's good. The background stuff is good.
And
Groot's jacked.
It makes us sad though, because we are losing as a Marvel fan and MCU fan. I say we are. The Marvel community is losing James Gunn to the DC community, which is fine. I hope they build that up to be as successful, because I just more superhero comic book related projects that are successful or make me happy. And so it's going to suck to see him go. We do get Guardians 3. And I hate to say that it's probably not, hate to say it. I would have to bet that it's not the end of James Gunn at the Marvel Studios, because I don't foresee him being in this position at DC for the rest of his life. And so it's possible that he does it for 5 years, 10 years, does his thing, closes up his, like they replace him with someone else or he moves on, and then they do a fun something later on with James Gunn coming back to the Marvel universe. Because
I wouldn't want to get into the DC side of it, but I don't see them. They don't tend to last very long with creators or with projects or with plans. So I would,
like I said, I think he's going to be there for a little longer. It would be likely
to be able to see James Gunn return for more MCU production stuff in the future.
And if anybody's confused about this, like, because he did Peacemaker and this, and he did Suicide Squad and this, there's two things in that. One, he was technically fired from Marvel.
Right.
And then so he was able to do that kind of stuff. And two, he wasn't running anything at either department or either company.
Right.
Whereas now he is head of DC Films.
There would be no way you could cross over. At that
now his job is to make DC profitable and to have.
I wish you the best of luck, sir.
Yes, like there's no way that he is allowed to now work for a Marvel property based on his new job as the coach.
I hope that he can make DC properties more accessible for people. Like that's my hope.
It's Peter
I
Safran, just so everybody knows. I looked it up again. He's also the co-chair and co-CEO of DC Films. He did. He was the co-producer of Rocket Man back in 1997 with Stuart Gillard. Or sorry, not Stuart Gillard. He co-directed it, but it was a Harlan Williams.
That was a
movie.
ago.
That was a movie.
That was a minute ago.
He was the producer of, was it producer? Hold on, I'm looking here. Filmography. It just says of Shazam.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. Which I enjoyed. I think that's probably one of my favorite DC movies. If not my favorite. I don't know. I enjoy the Batman, but
he did Shazam, Aquaman. He's a producer of Shazam, Aquaman. He'll be producing of Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2. He also did a number of the Conjuring films, including Conjuring and then The Nun and Nun 2. So
I wonder if that's why DC Black Label did the Conjuring series.
It's possible.
Connection there, probably.
And he was also producer of a film called The Suicide Squad with the director of James Gunn. So that makes sense too. They've worked together on that film.
I have not watched that one. I watched the first one and did not like it.
It's worth it. So if you get a chance, watch
I've got to watch it. I haven't watched the second one. I haven't watched Peacemaker, which is supposed to be really good.
Peacemaker is great as well. So that's another one.
I got to watch. I have to watch both of those. I don't have HBO Max, and all DC property stuff is on HBO Max, and eventually I'm going to catch up with one of these friggin' things and ditch one of them and go do HBO Max.
Well, you find time and you get a free trial and you just binge everything you can get in that time and then turn it off.
Right.
Or invite someone over for hey, every week on Thursday nights, we're going to watch this, and we come over and someone signed into their account. We could do a rewatching at Queen City or something like that, where every couple of weeks we go and watch a few episodes of something or a movie or something.
Right.
I'm sure I think he has the login for it probably, but
I imagine.
Yeah. So James Gunn's second to last project at Marvel for the foreseeable future was this Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and then his Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is his trilogy and wraps up, and I guess is the end of this team as we know it. It's not the end of Star-Lord, and it's not the end of these people.
Right.
I mean, it's a possibility he kills them off. I'm not sure, but this team.
So watching this, I was looking at Chris Pratt, and I'm like, man, how much longer can he be Star-Lord? He looked aged in this, and I think some of it was that point. Why they went to go give him a good Christmas was because he was tired, and they bought this place and they're trying to fix it up, and it's not what he's normally doing for sure. So, but Chris Pratt just kind of looked a little older and tired.
Yes, and he's in that category for me, the Iron Man category, the War Machine category. I would say those two. The category of, let's see, who else would I want to put in this category? I guess Black Panther would be in that category. The category that you don't have to be the specific person to be the superhero. So anybody technically now can be Tony Stark's Iron Man because it's just a suit that you can wear, because the suit itself is now powered by the arc reactor.
Star-Lord is technically a title.
Yes, so you can actually technically have you could take over being Star-Lord as a person if that person wants to hand the mantle.
And I don't think they've ever done that in the MCU, right? They haven't explained what the Star-Lord title is.
He just gave me I have a name, I have a nickname, you should know me, I'm Star-Lord kind of thing in the beginning of Guardians 1. Yeah,
which was great there. And then the guy, who? Yeah. Hey, I'm the legendary outlaw. Because in the comics, the Star-Lord is it's kind of like the Black Panther for Wakanda. Yeah. It's the prince of the planet, and they are supposed to be the defender of the planet until they become king and pass it on. The Star-Lord is the great soldier and protector and all this and that. And that's why he has the weapons that he does that are all special, creations. And
yes, but it's also not necessary for someone like him to take over. Star-Lord, I think, is a big enough character, but Guardians of the Galaxy themselves are the character in these movies, in these specials. Right. Guardians should continue on. It could be the next, they're having the new Avengers stuff with the next generation of Avengers. It could be the next generation of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy that all wander off.
It's pretty easy for Vin Diesel to say, "I'll continue to be Groot." And you know what I mean? That you could actually have some characters.
I asked Liz this morning as the girls started watching the little I Am Groot specials there, of how much does Vin Diesel get paid to say I am Groot? And every time you see it is, Vin Diesel as Groot. And in those, he's the only actor in them. There's nobody else. There's just Groot running around. To say I am in Groot. And then they changed his what pronunciations of it and how he's like impactfully saying it. And that's how much is he being paid for that?
Well, it's like I say, you could easily have Groot continue on being a Guardians of the Galaxy character because he's CGI and
assuming the same with Rocket.
Rocket, you could potentially do, and I don't think anybody's really going to be up in arms if Bradley Cooper decides not to voice him anymore. You can make someone sound a lot like him and be in that and act in him. And I don't think it's an animated. It's the same thing with any animated characters ever. Joker could only be Joker for so long with a character, and then all of a sudden someone else can take that mantle off Superman, Batman, all those things. And so like I would never really honestly have a problem. I have more of a problem when you visually see someone and
Drax is now Dave Bautista. You can't get someone else to be Drax.
Gamora. There's these characters that you definitely don't want that next person. But like, is Karen Gillan, like, does she really, like, what else is she doing? I watched a movie with her this year called Duel, and it was not great. And so like her best things she can do right now is play Nebula and let Nebula, Groot, and Rocket Raccoon be the core, and then you add in other characters from around.
Yeah, which is what you get in the books. You get these changeovers of different people that are off exploring the galaxy and this and that. And
what I want to see now is that we have retired basically Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, right? Like, so you have him working his way out and Kate Bishop's taking over. Yeah. There was a series by Marvel that was Old Man Hawkeye, and there's a series Old Man Star-Lord. And so or older Star. Is it Old Man Star-Lord?
I think so. It is. I think it's Old Man Star-Lord.
Old Man Quill.
Oh, there you go. Old Man Quill. Yep, there you go.
And that would be a dope series to have the two of them doing something and do it 5-6 years from now, age them up a little bit further than they are because they're not super old as it is.
Right.
And give them gray hair and do these things that they're like old, like, and put them off like Old Man Logan, put it off in the far distant future.
I was going to say, then they could run into Old Man Logan somewhere in the travel of just in a bar or whatever.
There is a
like,
there's a precedence
who
to
would be
it.
good right now with us is that guy, and him just be like, put the cigar in his mouth, like, nope, right off.
And there's a precedence to it because of Old Man Logan, and that there is a comic book related thing of these things is to do something like that. And bring, like, that's why you can continue bringing these characters back. You can have it be 10 years from now. Have James Gunn be done at DC at this time. DC is now a multi-billion-dollar DC films, a successful thing. He's like, okay, I'm done. I want to go back to Marvel for a little bit, come back and do an Old Man's Quill TV show that stars Old Man Hawkeye and have these. I think
you had the Deadpool run there where he's with Captain America, but he's not Cap. He's old. He's aged.
That's another one. Yeah, there is old Steve Rogers too.
Yeah, so you can get old Steve Rogers, and you could have Chris Evans come back if he wants to, reprise
Golden
the role
Girls, but as the old male superheroes. They live in a house together. They're retired, sipping on tea, talking about how much their backs hurt in the good old days.
Yep.
There we go. We figured it out. Let's write.
There we go.
Let's do this. And if it's not, let's get a podcast. I can act a scripted podcast or a comic book based on this. This is now this needs to be made.
MCU, if you're hiring right now to replace James Gunn, we got you covered. Just you know where to find us.
Old retired superheroes just shooting their shit.
Yep.
Talking about the good old days. One of them, I don't know who it is. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. One of them can be super racist. One of them can be super sexist because they, men can do everything, women can't.
They don't know any better. Yep.
This is going to be on the mature rated.
The crotchety old men.
You have to type in your little passcode to get on Disney Plus to get into this episode because it's going to be legit. So, but it's funny because I laugh at it. But there is Old Man Hawkeye and Old Man Quill, and there is Old Man Logan. So there is this old man, and there's Steve Rogers with gray hair and stuff. So there is this. Still
kicking everybody's ass.
And I think that would be fun to watch. I think it would be kind of cool because you can use these characters. Like you use Old Man Logan Logan was Old Man Logan from.
Yeah. The Logan movie was essentially the Old Man Logan, and that's where you're getting X-23 and Laura coming in, and
Hugh Jackman as it. So like you saw the characters. It's not some random character that you did. It's a lot easier to go now and do an Old Man Logan than it is to do or Old Man Hawkeye and Old Man Quill as it is to do a prequel to Guardians of the Galaxy and do young because then you'd have to recast.
Chris Pratt. Yeah, there's no option there.
It's like they did with the Solo movies. You have to put someone else in that.
And that's where I think Marvel's doing well with things with doing the animation side of it. Yeah. Do the animation, and then of course, we're hooked now. So if they come and say, "Hey, we're going to do one of these, but we're going to do it animation style," we're not going to not watch it. Where
No.
some people might have gone before, oh, I'm not going to watch a cartoon. Now you're so invested in the MCU and in the characters, and sure, we'll watch it. And now you don't have to get all of these actors to get, makeup and the whole deal. And, it was like we had Yondu's, the actor, I can't remember his name that plays Yondu, but he was there and he didn't have to get painted blue in the whole spiel because they just had
Which is interesting because I didn't know what they were going to do and how they were going to do that because I knew he was going to be starring in this. I'm like, but he's dead. And how are they? So being a flashback makes a lot of sense to have Michael Rooker in there as Yondu. That was cool too to see that. And you're right, the animation thing is different. It makes it more accessible to people. And at the end of this episode, so at the end of this special, there was a credits.
Yep.
And there was a credit scene about making a joke about Christmas being
special.
ruined. Christmas was ruined again, and that I guess we'll have to do another one of these.
Yep.
We'll have to save Christmas again or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I said,
great. Now we're gonna make another Christmas special. Rocket says.
And
so, as Groot's standing there, and he's like, "Oh," and everything falls awesome.
And
I like Cosmo of that. You've ruined Christmas again.
You ruined your Christmas again. So, but here's the question: does next year's have to be? If they do it next year, the year after, or whatever, does it have to be live action? Can it be an animated?
Could it be animation? Yeah, it's possible.
CGI, animation, any of those things.
Yep.
Have some of the people come in for a day in the studio, bang out some lines, and do it all over again, and just do it the animated style of it. Do a mixture of the two, whatever. Like they did this one, but not really the flashback, with just some sort of adventure that happens, like a life day adventure. Meet up with Star Wars characters. Can we do a what if Christmas holiday special with what if Star-Lord meets Luke Skywalker?
We could. I mean, technically speaking, right now, all properties are there, right? I know that was. I
can't meet
the
gargoyles
things like that too. Like the Yondu return, I pictured being the Star-Lord imaginary, but it's it looks like when the Jedi's return, and he's blue and glowing.
He's standing next to him.
Yep.
All blue and glowing, giving him some advice.
Boy, why the hell do I look like this? Well, there was a movie on Earth I saw about these guys in space.
It looks like Kevin Bacon.
Come back to give great advice. He's like, I don't have any advice for you.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin Bacon. What? Kevin Bacon
was so
it was awesome.
I so thoroughly enjoyed it, and I loved him singing. I said to Liz during this, I was like, you know what? He's really fun singing this, and it was great with him.
He's a singer. He knows how to sing.
He gets on the ship. He's going back to Earth, and his wife calls, and he's like, you know what? I got some people here. I gotta show them what Christmas is. And okay, and he goes off. So it was great that he chose to stay and do that for the Guardians, for Quill and the rest of them.
Fun fact: that's actually his wife, Kira Sedgwick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so his wife was also technically in the film by voice only, but yeah.
Yep, that's awesome.
That's awesome. But I give it thumbs up. Like I said to Adam and I used to do on the podcast, which is like, if it was in the theaters, would you go to the theaters and see this, or would you just say wait for it to come out on streaming?
I would
in
go
the theaters is 100% the route that I would go with this, because
I could see getting together and doing this at Queen City on the big screen, for the fun of it, because it was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I think it's for the whole family. I think there
was one. My girls, I have, so my youngest is 6. Yeah. And at the end, Nebula kind of brings out a word that I don't think that Katie's familiar with. And I'm like, we don't say that, Kate. And I totally forgot about it. We're watching it. Oh, look, all actors aren't pieces of shit. And I'm like, Katie, we don't say that, okay? Okay, Dad.
She's an alien.
Right. Yeah.
She can say that. She's an alien on her planet. That's not terrifying. She doesn't know. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Nebula says naughty words and was gonna go.
If you look like her, you can say it.
I love Nebula pulls the gun out and goes off, and Quill's like, "Don't kill him." I'll get him.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would be
fun. It would
be
great to find out how the hell she got Bucky's arm.
That's one thing that people are talking about. That's something we don't know, and we don't know if we find out in Guardians 3 why. And I thought it was funny because of the fact that it kind of a callback. Well, it's also Rocket's a callback.
Like, I'm gonna get that arm. Yep. And then there it is for Christmas. He gets it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to find out how the hell did Nebula get Bucky's arm.
My guess is that Bucky has a new arm.
Yeah, and she just stole it. Like she stole the old one.
It would be great to be at the beginning, be like, "Yeah, this is my new arm because I couldn't find my other one."
Yeah, the other one.
And Nebula's just over there like, I don't know what you're talking about. So it was great, and I'm excited for it and to happen again potentially. But I wanted before we wrap up here, Paul. Hold on.
All right. Oh, you noticed the fireplace back there. Very nice.
Oh yeah, it's
Very
actually
nice.
because it's cold as balls in here, so I need to have heat in here. Except for the fact that Taylor yelled at me because I have extension cords or tower strips attached to a power strip because my power strip that I had before died, and the new one hasn't come in yet.
Yeah, that's bad juju.
I just want to show this one in person
Because you got stuff in here I can't replace. So just FYI, that is beautiful. I'm envious.
And
that's awesome too.
If anybody couldn't see, I was just showing my limited edition Substack Scotty Young I Hate Fairyland covers, their foil variants, but Paul is obsessed with a little bit Scotty Young like I am. So yes, there is some stuff in here. Well, I bought the foam from you, so that's good.
Yep, I got my date for my next one, so we can get.
I think I figured out what I wanted for my Michael Del Mundo tattoo as well. I think it's the Ghost Rider cooking the marshmallows in his head on his head.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because it's simple. It's not simple, but it's
fun.
It's unique. It's fun, and it's also able to be made in a relatively good size tattoo, not having to be like my entire back.
Enormous. Yeah. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out. So this was a question I posed to Liz this morning. I didn't get an answer. All right. So I'm gonna do a sleeve here, and I'm gonna have it be Space and Galactus, but the serious like Kirby style Galactus. Yes. I think. Then I was thinking of having some smaller Galactus where he's changed size here and there and planets and stuff. And I want to do Guardians of the Galaxy as well. But can you do with the serious one? Can I do Scotty's Guardians, or would it not look right mixed in? And do I have to do a serious Guardians of the Galaxy?
Listen, it's your arm.
I know, but the artwork of it, the transitions, is that going to work? I don't know.
Technically, some of these tattoos I have on me are supposed like this Venom. If you think about traditional tattoo rules, quote unquote, it's supposed to be facing me, not facing you. And like his tongue is going the opposite way that it's supposed to go. And Jay looks at me, our tattoo artist. Jay goes, "It's your arm, dude. You do what you want."
Right. Yeah.
That's like good point. But yeah, so this is supposed to be the Scotty arm. And then I got Ben up here. So it's, I mean, what's going to happen is in the heat of the moment, you're going to do that. You're gonna look at that.
I'll get the decision. Yeah. Because I definitely want like a serious Galactus.
Yes.
And all that. And I consider doing serious Galactus and stopping at the elbow and this being a half sleeve.
Yeah.
And then doing more Scotty down here because I have so many friggin' Scotty tattoos I want. There's enough places to put them.
And he's not stopping anytime soon, so it's gonna be harder to do.
And which we as obsessive fans appreciate.
Yes, exactly. So yeah. Yeah, I won't burn this place down. Don't worry.
Don't burn the place down. Yes, the Foom I can't replace. I can't.
Do you have current boards?
No, I have them on order. They have been sitting on order. So there was Comic Care changed all of their stuff, and I'm guessing they held orders until then. But our diamond order is already here. It came in Saturday, and there is a lot of boxes to process. So who knows what the hell's in there? Let
me know, because I literally have like 6 bags of current bags, and I had 4 boards left this weekend, and all those. It was a very small week this week, so I know how many bags. Last week, I should say this week.
I missed out too because it was 68 titles because I left variants off the list somehow.
And I figured that out too. I grabbed that on that day.
Yeah, I sent an email out. So 68 titles last week, and this week has 47.
Yeah, this is still a good 68. I think I grabbed 38, and and this week it's not. I do not have 50%. I think it's not as big of a week for me, personally, but
yeah, still a pretty good sized week, and a bunch of number 1 new series drops, and like I'm excited. Hell to Pay number 2 drops this week. So
yes, and I'll tell right now, my comic book, visually, the comic book of the week is A Vicious Circle from Boom. I don't know, when you open that book up and you get inside the first couple of pages of that book, I'm not a DC fan, as you know. So Lee Bermejo? Yes. He does
fantastic work.
He does Batman Damned and Joker. His artwork is phenomenal. Like the first panel,
it walks a great line between still being art but being photographic.
Oh my! The first panel, I zoom in on my iPad because I got an advanced copy from Boom, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, is that a photo? Nope. it's not. And then I go through, I'm like, and then when he gets halfway through the book, it goes from this black and white sketch gray tones thing to a different timeline. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but like there's a back of future, the future aspect of it, and it's his artwork, but they colored, so it gives it that cartoon comic book feel, but still absolutely phenomenal. And I was just like, this is probably I loved Deadmau5's artwork this year. Yep. And I also liked All Against All last week's artwork was pretty cool too. But this might be my best looking interior pages of the year in this Vicious Circle. So if anybody has the opportunity, I think it's magazine size too, which kind of
another magazine size. So question on upcoming podcast, we're doing the year in review of comics.
Yes.
You had a rule, is it 3? There had to be 3 out this year?
3. I would say 3. Originally I said 2, but I would not fall.
That's going to eliminate some of my picks because there's some
good ones that come out
late in the year. They're late.
Well,
that
means that would be in next year's. So
right.
Unless like this Vicious Circle will be this month, and there'd be 2. So Vicious Circle would be one of those ones that's quick because it's possible that the second issue comes out. They haven't solicited the second issue yet, but the second issue might come out in January and the third in February. But that means that there would only be 2 next year and only 1 this year, so it'd be in that limbo. So I would say that kind of a book like that would be in next year's, even though there was only 2, because it was December, January, and February. I would put that into next year's. I was trying to figure that out because 2 issues is either not far enough into a series, or the majority of the series came out in the previous year. I think 3 issues is one of those ones that have 5 or 6 issues, 7 issue series.
You split it 50% at least.
Yeah. So if you felt like so
I'm gonna have to go back
in this year, I'm not gonna
go back and review
question it.
Like, all right,
I'm not gonna question it. But
I think what I believe right now is going to be my pick does not have 3 issues out. Yeah. So
like I said, I'm not gonna hold against you. Here's the deal. An issue comes out on December 28th. That cannot be the comic book of the year.
And I think, were we having Garrett in this one?
If you
were we having a third perspective? I thought that was one of the things we discussed.
If you want to.
And he can discuss all of the Thor.
Yeah. Thor. What's the best Thor of the year?
Yeah. What's the best Thor of the year, Garrett?
Luckily, he's not there yet, right? He hasn't come in for a little while.
He hasn't come in yet. No. He'll be in another hour. So the phone's been ringing off the hook here this morning already. I don't know who's.
It's Christmas season, buddy.
Dude, it's not.
Want their comics.
Great. We love it.
I will see you. I was gonna say it's Wednesday, but I will see you tomorrow night for our Christmas party. Excited?
Yes, the book club holiday party and festival.
First annual.
Yes, the first annual. Yeah, I put that out there too. This is the first annual.
Yes.
Cool. I think we can look forward to many of these down the road.
Oh, I forgot to message you quickly before we ended up there. Did you see Stupid Fresh Mess? Scotty Young's company reposted my post about book clubs, and say if you're looking for a book club, you need to
dude, yes,
story.
That's awesome.
So they have, if you're looking for a book club to go to, So
for the first time ever on Instagram, I tagged him in our post last week because we had all of the Moon Girl
covers.
Devil Dinosaur books, but I put the Scotty one out front facing. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna tag that and see what it does, and just for the hell of it, why not?
Like I said, I posted the story out there. They reposted the story, so obviously it's gone now because the stories only last 24 hours. But it's saying if you're looking for a book, to grab it. We did a post about the book club.
That's awesome. That's great. It's a great bragging rights. I'm gonna get another plan upcoming. Is that all of our book club stuff? There will be a book club section on Galactic Comics and Collectibles.com, and you will be able to order all previous trades from book clubs and for future book clubs off the website as well. So if you are not local and want to tag in and feel like you're with us and part of this entire shenanigan, then it will be available to you from us.
And if there's enough people out there that want to do it that's not in the area, we can do it via Zoom or anything like that. But we also can do a preview on the site, capesandtights.com, of what we're reading instead of just a wrap up at the end, so that you have an idea announcing the next book.
What's coming. Yeah, because in store I try to have this month's and last month. So right now we have Thanos out for this month for Johnny Cates, and then next month we're doing Something Skill in the Children Volume 1.
Excited for both, honestly. So
I'm not going to sell a single copy of that.
I'm buying it.
I told you I think everyone in our book club already owns it. Right.
I told you I buy it. I'm adding to the collection over here, buddy. I mean,
I see it.
I got I Hate Fairylands over here somewhere, and I already owned all those.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
the trade shelf's looking nice.
See, look at that. I got some mixture of trades, novels. I bet Garrett would be a little jealous of this one right here. This is
I have. That's the same copy I have.
Well, this is the special edition one that has the signed book plate. And
Oh, that's nicer than mine.
I think I'm in this one. Let's see here.
I don't know why I didn't bring my copy back to have Charles sign it when he was in the store. I regret not asking for a photo because I didn't want to be the guy that's like, hey, can I get your picture? And I wish I had. And I also wish that I had my hardcover copy to get signed.
It's hard to see here, but because I'm not going to show, but it says Justin Soderberg right there on the back of the book too. Because it was a Kickstarter. I backed the Kickstarter of it.
Damn.
So I'm in the book too.
Moving up
I
in the
should have done it. It's Capes and Tights.
Right? Yeah. Capes and Tights podcast.
Yep, there you go. Actually, my Patreon is that, I believe. So my buddy over there, sketch.com, off panel podcast, he reads all of his Patreon subscribers at the end, and I put it in there as Capes and Tights, so it says Capes and Tights podcast at the end.
Nice.
Use that marketing thing there.
Represent, baby, represent.
Watch the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on Disney Plus if you have it. Obviously, everybody should have Disney Plus because it's excellent. And if you want to prepare yourself for next week's episode, anybody, the episode will be the Star Wars holiday special. So if you want to take a substance of some sort, whether it's a nice adult beverage or if you want to use anything else you want to put in your body, we will.
It's going to take the same amount of that to get me through the Star Wars as it did to get me through Thor: Love and Thunder.
See, there you go. So, but here's the deal: this is worse than Thor: Love and Thunder. Let's be honest.
I honestly, I don't know that I can agree with that. First of all,
it came out in 1978.
Yeah.
And it was only out once. So any copy that we watch nowadays, like Gibran and I are going to watch a copy of it that was on a VHS tape recorded off the TV. so not only is it suffering to watch because you have to watch this special, but you have to watch it in like less than 480p, quality, like standard definition.
If I am not mistaken, I think I recall a interview with Mark Hamill about this, and he said that he was on so much coke at the time that he doesn't remember pretty much any of it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he didn't remember really any of it.
70s. Everybody was coke in the 70s.
Yeah, everybody was. Yeah, that was like that was a culture.
Hollywood actor, because the fact that people probably just gave you cocaine. They're like, here you go.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I got your paycheck for you, and you're like, I have money.
What's the white powder in there?
what is this?
Also, just a recommendation. I've only on episode 1, but there's a podcast called Stealing Superman. Have you heard of this?
No.
It is the story. It's iHeartRadio podcast. It's on Spotify and on Apple and all those things.
Yeah.
It's the story of Nicolas Cage and his stolen Action Number 1, Detective 27, Detective 1, and another one. They're just talking about the beginning of that. So he had a party at his house and he had all these in frames. And he had a 9.0 Action Number 1.
Oh my God.
That was stolen from him in the early 2000s. He bought for $150.
Oh my God.
A 9.0.
Oh my God.
$50,000. That's a $3 million comic book right there right now.
Yeah.
But so it's fascinating. I think there's like 6 episodes.
Cool.
And like
30 I'll have to check that out for sure. I keep bouncing, trying to find more different comic podcasts. I really enjoy the thing of it, but they're not easy to find.
No.
And like right now I started listening to Rob Liefeld, and I personally am not a Rob Liefeld guy. I'm not a big Liefeld fan, so I'm listening to it, but it's not, I don't know.
Yeah. But this one's cool because it's like a true crime.
I appreciate the one I'm listening to. He's talking about supporting your LCS. I appreciate that.
True crime podcast about comic books being stolen.
That's awesome.
From a guy who steals the Declaration of Independence in a movie. It like literally he has them in frames on his wall with pressure sensitive locked key things.
So this wasn't like a drunken party and somebody was like, I'm taking this with me. Like
I'm only a few episodes in and I don't want to look it up on the internet because I don't want to find I want to like learn.
Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna have to check this out. Stealing Superman.
He bought the comics years ago through Metropolis, the guy who owns Metropolis Comic Books in New York, or Metropolis Collectibles. And so the first episode explains what happened, but he has like 20 or 30 people who work for him. He had a party. It was New Year's Eve or Christmas or something like that. And then he went in there the next day, a couple days later, he found out they were missing. And he calls the collector that he bought him off of, the guy who buys him his comic books through, before he called the police. Because he was just like, I don't know what to do. And so it's fascinating. And I'm like, dropped my son off at daycare this morning and I'm driving back and I'm like, I don't want to get out of the car. I want to keep on listening.
Yeah, I
want to know what happened. Sure. So it's worth it. Stealing Superman, it's available on all the. I would give them credit. They didn't pay for anything. There's no promotion here. But I definitely think that anybody who's out there wants to watch it or listen to it should. it will take a couple hours of your lifetime to listen to, so it's not crazy. And Nicolas
Right.
Cage, man, why not, right? Galactic Comics in Bangor, Maine, 547 Hammond Street in Bangor, Maine. GalacticComicsandCollectibles.com. You can find them on
Heck yeah.
Instagram, on Facebook, do all that stuff
24/7.
there. And yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Capes and Tights podcast. And the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special is well worth watching. So check it out.
2 thumbs up. Merry Christmas, guys.